Hi guys, it's Sheena from Teton Raptor Center and I'm here to give you all this week's patient update. Unfortunately, we just don't have the time to cover every single bird in this week's update, so we are going to cover some of our newer cases, our releases, as well as some of our interesting birds. So let's go ahead and get started. I want to kick things off by highlighting our most recent release. This is Cooper's Hawk 823, and this bird initially came in after a window strike, and here she is flying back out into the wild. Moving right along to our current patients, we've got Northern Saw-Whet Owl 9.5, and this bird came in from Jackson, Wyoming with a fractured coracoid in the left side of his body. This is an adult saw-whet, so this is actually how big that they get, and it will never get any bigger than this. Next up, we've got Red-tailed Hawk 831, and this bird came in with a fractured ulna in his left wing. Luckily, this is a really nice midline fracture, and so the bird won't require any surgery. We will be able to manage this fracture by just keeping his wing in a wrap. So you can see that red piece of material on his left wing is just the wing wrap. That's not blood or anything. And he'll have that wrap on for about 3 to 5 weeks, depending on the healing process. And we're going to continue doing physical therapy and cold laser therapy. Next up is Golden Eagle 829, and this bird came from Saddle String, Wyoming. It was actually found on the ground, and the person who found it wasn't quite sure what was wrong. We got it into care, and we also didn't find anything obvious just by looking at the bird during the physical exam or during the x-ray process. We did, however, notice that this bird had blood parasites when we looked further into doing some blood work on him. The blood parasite that he's dealing with is called leukocytozoan, and there are ways to release birds back out into the wild with this. It is not an illness that will cause a fatality. We just pretty much provide supportive care and continue doing blood work until we see some of those blood parasite numbers go down. Next up is Swainson's Hawk 818, and this bird came in from Etna, Wyoming. It is likely that this bird was struck by a vehicle, but we're not entirely sure. It ended up coming in with a fractured ulna in its right wing, as well as some left eye trauma. It can definitely see out of that left eye without any issues, so that's a really good sign. And similar to the red-tailed hawk, this bird actually doesn't need surgery, so it will have that wrap on for a little bit longer, and we are also doing cold laser therapy and physical therapy on a regular basis. Here we have Great Horned Owl 813, and this bird initially came in from Idaho Falls. She was dealing with a fractured humerus that we actually ended up pinning with a surgical pin. So she did undergo surgery. However, great horned owls are pretty notorious for picking at things, whether it's their wraps that they try to pull off or pieces of bandaging tape. And unfortunately, this bird did what no bird should do when they are pinned. She actually pulled out her surgical pin with her beak. And so at this point, it is a little too late in the game to try and repin that wing since it already has begun the healing process. So she is currently in this body wrap. You can see that's wrapped around her, and she's going to need to keep that on for a little bit longer until things heal up a little bit more. Last but not least, for the birds that we're covering in this week's update is Long-eared Owl 8.1, and this is the bird that came in with a radius ulna fracture in the left wing that we did surgery on. After the 4 to 5 week mark, we removed the metal pin in there on purpose, unlike the great horned owl in the first clip before this. And here we are doing cold laser therapy. This is usually something that we do in conjunction with physical therapy, and then we often apply a heat pack to finish things off. So here's that cold laser therapy process. All right, that's all we've got for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed learning more about our birds. Remember that if you want to do your part to help keep wild birds wild, you can check out our website at tetonraptorcenter.org. I'm also going to link a button below in the comments where you can click on and donate there. Bye!